All right, if everybody gets settled. Here in a second, I'm going to introduce Jennifer Watson, who's a public health nurse with Boone County. She's here to talk about vaping and e-cigarettes. We're going to come at this today strictly from a facts, numbers point of view. I know a lot of times we're coming at it from a wagging our fingers at you, hey, don't do this, here comes detentions and suspensions and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, that kind of stuff isn't going to go away. But here's the thing that I want you guys to come away with this today. You guys are being hunted. All right, you are the prey in this game. These are not safe products. They're products that are marketed specifically to you to try to addict you, to try to hook you into a circular deal for the rest of your life. And for the reality of it is, when I was a kid, cigarettes were cool. You guys are living in an age right now where, because of marketing and the perception of the public, cigarettes aren't that cool anymore. Okay, but now big tobacco, and make no mistake, the people who sell this to you are Philip Morris, Marlboro. They're companies that made billions and billions and billions of dollars decades ago off of my generation smoking cigarettes. Now they're trying to find a way to make that same money off of you. Okay, you are the gazelle and they are the hyenas. Think about it that way. So we're doing this for you because we want you to be able to be informed and make good choices, and that's how I want you to be thinking about this presentation today. All right, so Jennifer Watson, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Smith. So my name is Jennifer Watson. I am a registered nurse. I work at the Columbia Boone County Health Department. I've been a nurse for about 4 years. Among the many things I do at the health department, my big program that I work on is tobacco cessation and prevention. I go about cessation just by advertising my program to help people quit smoking and vaping, and taking walk-in patients and making appointments on a one-on-one basis. This is my favorite part of my job right here, is the prevention part. We have seen these e-cigarette products absolutely surge in the market. Over 4 years, So over 4 years, from 2011 to 2015, we saw a 900% increase in e-cigarette use amongst your age group. Anybody want to take a stab at why that is? Oh, y'all are on fire today. Marketing, right? It's absolutely due to marketing. Who thinks smoking is a cool thing? Smoking cigarettes? Show me your hands. Is it cool? No? Who's heard of vaping? Everybody should be raising their hands, right? Don't be shy. Come on. Right. What about juuling? Okay. What about Sorin? Sorin? Okay. How about badging? Yeah, a few. So I'm going to talk about these devices today, and I'm going to give you facts, you guys. From a medical standpoint and a healthcare standpoint, you're going to get facts today. These are proven, these have been researched, and we're learning more and more about these products every single day because they're relatively new on the market. So among high school students, 1 in 5, that's a lot of people in this room, you guys, are currently vaping. Okay, that's a 20.8% currently. Okay, to give you a little perspective, in 2011, the high school rate was 1.5% for e-cigarettes, and we're up to 20.8. This is based on last year's data. We don't have this year's data yet. We know if you use these products, you're 4 times more likely to start smoking cigarettes, and we're going to talk about why that is. Even though cigarettes are not cool, we know that, you know that, right? But when you use these products, within 6 months, 30% of you will be dual users. You'll be smoking and you'll be vaping. That's a fact. And you sit there and you say, smoking is nasty, I would never do it. But the amount of nicotine you're getting in these devices, is astronomical compared to a cigarette. So each day, nearly 3,300 youth under the age of 18 try their very first e-cigarette, or their first cigarette. At that rate, we're talking about 128,000 of you guys, Missouri youth, that are gonna die prematurely from a smoking-related illness. You guys, even though we know a ton of information about smoking and how bad cigarettes are for you, smoking is still the #1 cause of preventable death and disease in the United States. #1. And that's not just from smoking cigarettes, you guys. That's from being exposed to people smoking cigarettes. What kind of effect do you think that big cloud of e-cigarette vapor has on people around you? It's just harmless water vapor, right? Who's heard that? Yeah. Yep, that was advertised out there for a long time. We know that 90% of smokers try their first cigarette by the age of 18. That number is going to be really important when we talk about policy change here in a little bit. And 98% by the age of 26. So these things are called various different names. Okay, I know them as electronic nicotine delivery systems, but you guys are going to hear me talk about e-cigarettes, vaping. Sometimes the older ones are known as mods or tanks. Sometimes vape pens or just vapes. These came out of the market in 2004. We first saw these in the United States in 2011. Okay, this is the first generation. They kind of look like a pen, like a cigarette, right? Those were disposable. The second generation, now we're getting away from them even looking like a cigarette. This is the first generation that were rechargeable. The third generation is what we typically refer to as our mods, or tank systems. These were the first systems where they were modifiable. That's how they got their name. You can modify how big the tank is. You could modify the battery on these things. This is what you guys are familiar with. Okay, this is what we're seeing right now that are popular items used among you guys. Juul being the #1. These devices today, Big Tobacco has made sure to evolve them. Every year they come out with new items. They're more sleek, they're more tech savvy. These devices are really concerning because they use nicotine salts. Okay, so an acid, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, called benzoic acid, is used to make these nicotine strengths super concentrated. You can see Juul. You guys are familiar with this one, right? So I have a lot of parents ask me about the charging device, right? The charger for a Juul looks just like what you're going to save your history paper on, right? A thumb drive. Plug it right into the computer, it charges the device. Juuls take pods. Pods contain the e-liquid that you use to vape. So Juul's the most popular. Then we have the Rolo badge made by Smoke. Okay, people who do this refer to themselves as badging. Okay, that's also in Boone County. Soren has several different devices, like the Vegan and the Drop. That doesn't even look like a cigarette. Looks kind of like a toy or a mouse. So we did a survey, and 63% of youth, that's you guys, that use a Juul does not understand that there is no such thing as a Juul that contains 0% nicotine. In fact, when you smoke a regular cigarette, you're absorbing about 1 milligram of nicotine. One Juul pod has 59 milligrams of nicotine in it. You might get an idea of why now we see you guys 4 times more likely to start smoking regular cigarettes. The amount of nicotine you're getting from these devices is nothing near what you need to sustain an addiction. That's why you pick up smoking along with vaping. All the e-cigarettes on the market look way different. You guys saw that on the first slide, right? We go from something that looks like a pen to something that's completely unrecognizable. Big Tobacco's done an excellent job in modifying these devices over the years and evolving them to make them pretty cool for you guys. They all function the same way. They all have a battery. The battery is going to heat up a metal coil so hot that it takes a liquid that's used in all of these products and it turns it into an aerosol, what the tobacco industry calls a vape or vapor. And then you smoke it through a mouthpiece. So even though they all look different, they all function the same way. So like I said, the tobacco industry calls this a vape cloud. That doesn't sound too bad, right? When you're talking about your health, a vapor. Okay. It's actually a chemical aerosol. That doesn't sound as healthy. It's not harmless water vapor, and in fact, it contains 10 chemicals that are on California's Prop 65 list that are absolutely known to cause cancer. You don't get those cancer-causing agents just from using your Juul or your e-cigarette. You get it from being around those friends that are doing it around you. E-cigarette aerosol contains nicotine. Any tobacco product on the market that is a tobacco product, regardless of the label, contains nicotine. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Ultrafine particles that get way down deep in the lungs and do damage. Heavy metals like nickel, tin, and lead. Flavoring and all the chemicals that come along with flavors, one of which is diacetyl, and we'll talk a little bit about what that does to your lungs. And they all contain cancer-causing chemicals. With that vape cloud, you guys, same as secondhand smoke with tobacco and cigarettes. If you can see the smoke or you can smell it, so if you see the vapor cloud or that aerosol cloud or you smell it, you are breathing it. You are getting those same cancer-causing agents, those same toxins and the nicotine amounts. And that's having an effect on you also. So all these products take a liquid. Sometimes it's referred to as an e-liquid or an e-juice, vape juice. What's in it? We know that nicotine is in it regardless of the label. Each one of these liquids contains either propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin. That doesn't sound too healthy to be taking into your lungs. Both of those chemicals are used as a flavor propellant. Benzoic acid we talked about, that makes that nicotine strength really, really concentrated and strong. Lots of different flavorings, and we'll talk a little bit about flavorings, and then literally the term other ingredients. Now I don't know about you, but if I'm going to go to the store and buy something at the store and the back of the label on the ingredient label says other ingredients, I might stop and think whether or not I want to consume that product. What am I putting in my body? The fact of the matter, you guys, is that even though the FDA says they regulate these, they are completely unregulated on the market today. The reason for that is because the FDA extended their guidelines for these products. So these big tobacco companies don't have to submit the ingredients that are in their products until beginning in 2020. You guys know how long it takes our government to do anything? Yeah, a long, long time, right? So these products are on the market, they're unregulated, we have no idea what's in them, and they won't be regulated for a long, long time. As far as the flavorings go, do you guys know any adults who want to smoke gummy worms? Does that even sound appealing? How about cotton candy or Fruity Pebbles? No. Who's big tobacco marketing to? Youth, and they know that. So you guys know what nicotine is, right? I'm not gonna bash you with this information. It's a drug, it's highly addictive. Nicotine's the most addictive substance that we know of today, even more so than street drugs like heroin and crack cocaine. Okay? It's a central nervous system stimulant. That means it makes your heart work harder, right? Increases your blood pressure, constricts those vessels. It changes your brain chemistry, and I'm going to focus on that here in just a little bit. And again, it's found in all tobacco products. Back to the addiction. Are you guys aware that, first, when I talk about big tobacco, I want you to know I'm talking about an umbrella, okay, that covers all the tobacco companies that manufacture and distribute any kind of tobacco-related product, okay? In 1994, big tobacco went in front of our government in the House of Representatives. The heads of the big tobacco companies raised their right hands, and they swore in 1994 that nicotine was not addictive. You see a problem with that? A little bit deceptive, huh? So, tobacco has a history of being dishonest. Why? Why is tobacco dishonest? Humor me, guys. Money, absolutely. Big tobacco is a billion-dollar industry. That's why they're still around today. In 2018, some really smart students at Brigham Young University wanted to find out just how much nicotine are in these e-liquids. They said, we know they're not regulated. Tobacco companies have been deceptive before. Let's see if they're still being deceptive. So they picked 7 of the most common US manufacturers and distributors in the United States. They picked 5 of the most popular flavors that you guys like, and they went and bought a whole bunch of them in varying strengths, everything from 0% nicotine on the label all the way up. And they sent them off to an outside lab. And they said, we don't care what the label says, we want you guys to test these products and tell us how much nicotine are in these e-liquids. Of the samples labeled 0% nicotine, 91.4% of them contained nicotine at levels that will get you addicted. I want you to soak that in. Again, it's big tobacco being deceptive. The label reads 0 nicotine. You think you're being safer by just choosing a flavored product, right? It has enough nicotine in it to get you addicted, and you don't even know it. Flavorings is one of the other aspects of these products that we want to go after as far as policy changes. We know that 85% of you guys, when you first try one of these products, use a flavor. I don't know about you, but when I'm putting something in my body, if I'm going to eat something and it tastes really bad, I'm not going to eat it. You think maybe that's why big tobacco flavors these things? Maybe it tastes really gross with all the chemicals in it? Yeah. The chemicals on these products are listed just as flavorings on the label. Again, we don't know what all that means. What's in a flavoring? Who knows? Okay? We know one of the deceptive ways that big tobacco tries to lead you to believe they're safe is because they say, but the flavors are approved by the FDA. Sure. If I'm eating my strawberry fruit roll-up, yeah, that strawberry flavor has been approved by the FDA. And the FDA has given it what they call a GRAS status, generally recognized as safe for consumption. But what's consuming mean? If you consume something, what are you doing? You're eating it. So is that strawberry flavor safe for me to eat? Sure. Is it safe for me to smoke in a vape product? No. No, it's not. We know fruit flavors have a lot higher levels of toxic chemicals in them. And we know that most of these contain diacetyl, which is that really harmful chemical I was talking about earlier in the vape aerosol. There are currently no federal restrictions on flavored e-cigarettes. There are no flavored tobacco products on the market as far as cigarettes go. They've been banned. But our regulations do not include the verbiage to ban flavors on e-cigarettes. I'm not going to bash you guys with health facts. You know it's bad for you. Okay? Nicotine and tobacco, all the chemicals, all the nicotine, all the cancer-causing agents affect every single part of your body in one way or another. And this is the most concerning. Are you guys aware that your brains are still developing until your mid-20s, up to like 25? So even though some of you may legally be 18 and considered an adult, your brains are still developing. That means a lot of you will be in college, or maybe graduating college, before your brains are even done developing. Nicotine changes your brain for life. This is a time when all of those synapses in your brain are really developing. Okay? All of those synapses in your brain that are developing right now help you do things like control impulses, make decisions, think for yourself. They have a lot to do with your mood and how you handle peer pressure. But when you add nicotine to your brain right now while it's trying to develop, that nicotine has a role on dopamine and your dopamine receptors. Okay? You guys are like, I didn't want a science lesson today, right? So you guys, dopamine's the feel-good neurotransmitter, right? If you're exercising, if you made a good grade on a test, you know, something good happens to you, you get that sense of euphoria, that feel-good feeling, right? Nicotine plays a role in that. So when you hit that vape device, Juul, Soren, whatever it is, and you get that initial kind of feel-good feeling, it doesn't last for long because the brain tries to self-regulate itself, and in order to do that, it numbs up those receptors and those sensors in your brain. So next time you hit the Juul, or next time something good happens to you, you're not going to get that dopamine release anymore. Now you need more and more nicotine to try to get that dopamine release. And all the while you're doing that, you're changing your brain for life. You are doing damage that cannot be fixed. You're setting yourself up for a lifetime of problems. Physically, emotionally, right? Going to college, now you can't really make a lot of decisions like you used to. Maybe you don't think as well. You can't really handle the peer pressure. I can't go to my doctor and say, hey, I screwed up. I made a bad choice. I used Juul while I was in high school, and I know it affected my brain. I need a new one. Doesn't work that way. You are changing your brain for life, you guys. We're talking about a lifetime of now, you know, the addiction that you guys, that we're seeing in your age group right now. The addiction is so much worse than what we saw when your parents or the adults in your life were using cigarettes way back when, because of the sheer amount of nicotine in these products. Nicotine changes your brain chemistry, we know that. You guys are uniquely vulnerable to addiction. The severity of the dependence that you will have for a lifetime is astronomical. How long does it take to get addicted? Maybe if you're smoking cigarettes, it takes quite a bit longer. Maybe you need to smoke a pack a day for 6 months, a year, 2 years before you're really, really addicted. Because remember, with a cigarette, you're getting about 1 milligram of nicotine. It takes days of taking a few hits off of a Juul to become addicted. So that chemical in the aerosol that we talked about called diacetyl, that's found in 92% of common e-cigarette flavors, that chemical causes popcorn lung. Who's heard of popcorn lung? Yeah. Popcorn lung, the medical term is bronchiolitis obliterans. Okay, basically it takes those tiny little airways in your lungs. So you guys know when you breathe, right? When you breathe, your lungs expand, right? Just like this one, the pink lung. Okay, all those tiny little airways take oxygen and enable you to oxygenate your body. If I cut that lung in half, it won't be like cutting a balloon in half. Okay, there are thousands and thousands of tiny little air sacs in there. There's enough surface area in that lung that I could, if I laid it out, cover an entire tennis court. Okay, diacetyl gets way down deep into those lungs and damages those tiny little airways. Instead of being nice and open, where you can breathe and they'll inflate and you can oxygenate your body, they scar up and close off. The damage from diacetyl is not reversible. That's permanent. So in this black lung over here that simulates someone who smoked a pack a day for 20 years of cigarettes, the bottom portion of this lung isn't even moving hardly. It's not inflating. That's what diacetyl does to your lungs. That's permanent. When you stop smoking a cigarette, your body tries to start repairing itself right away, like within hours. And as long as you're not smoking, your body's going to keep trying to repair itself. Will it repair the damage to make your lung look like that one? No, it will not. But when your body tries to start repairing itself from using a vape device, it can't. That's permanent damage. This is something fairly new that we've just learned. It's called wet lung. That's like the street name for it. It's hypersensitivity pneumonitis and acute respiratory distress syndrome. Okay, so what's all that mean? Well, there was an 18-year-old who went off to college. She took a waitressing job, right? She was working, trying to put herself through school, like many of you will find in months to come, right? She was super stressed out. She took up vaping. It wasn't long before she developed this really annoying chronic cough. Right? She thought vaping helped her with stress. Cough kept going on and on. She initially became a little bit short of breath, no big deal, I'll deal with it, but that got worse and worse to the point that she couldn't breathe and she started having chest pain. Well, her body was trying to protect itself because she was introducing an unknown foreign chemical into her lungs, and to do that, her body increased the blood supply to her lungs. When that happened, her lungs started filling up with blood and fluids. So she was basically drowning herself while her body was trying to protect itself from all the chemicals in this vape product. She ended up in the hospital intubated. That means she couldn't breathe on her own. A machine had to breathe for her. She had 2 chest tubes to help drain her lungs. I bet she didn't expect that from just trying to control her stress with a vape. How about this? You guys have probably seen these pictures, right? When you talk about a battery heating up a metal coil to the point of turning a liquid into an aerosol, that gets pretty hot, okay? This was common when devices came out on the market. Does it still happen today? Absolutely it does. They look cool now. This is brand new evidence, you guys. New products, right? How long did it take us to learn how bad cigarettes were for us? A long time, right? These products are fairly new. In April, just in April of this year, the FDA came out with a public health announcement saying that, hey, we've seen an uptick in the number of youth using these vape products and having seizures, enough that we're concerned that there may be a link there. So we're looking into that. Have they linked it directly yet? No. Do I think they will from a healthcare perspective? Absolutely. Because I know the level of nicotine in these devices, and when you talk about nicotine poisoning or overdosing on nicotine, which you absolutely can do, one of the side effects is seizures. Marketing is the big reason why we've seen the increase in these devices and you guys using them, right? Tobacco companies are pretty slick with how they market, okay? Remember way back when the cartoons, everybody smoked in the cartoons, right? Yeah. Right? We had cool characters like Joe Camel. You guys are probably way too young to remember that. Right? So they'll do anything to make it look cool, right? Trick you into spending money for their billion-dollar industry. Right now, for our marketing practices, you guys, there are very few restrictions on e-cigarette marketing. That needs to change. E-cigarettes, you see those all the time in your favorite TV shows and movies, right? You don't see cigarette smoking anymore because it's been banned. States have the ability to regulate these, and it's super, super important that you guys get involved and make changes to help regulate these things sooner rather than later. In 2016, Big Tobacco spent $9.5 billion just on promoting to you guys. And it worked. We saw it, right? 900% increase. The 5 major smokeless tobacco manufacturers spend almost $760 million. And that's $26 million every single day. $26 million that they're spending on promoting these products to you. Why? Because everybody who smoked cigarettes is dead or dying. And you guys know that's bad for you, right? Well, what about e-cigarettes? They've done a really good job to show you that it's just harmless water vapor, right? Or it's a lot safer than smoking cigarettes. Is it? You guys are subject to these ads all the time. 4 in 5 middle and high school students see these e-cigarette ads, and you guys are mostly on social media. Raise your hand if you've seen an e-cigarette ad on social media. You guys are asleep. Here's some marketing practices now. Okay, part of the master settlement agreement between 46 states, including Missouri, and the big tobacco companies said that big tobacco can no longer market and make it look cool for you guys. What do you think? I don't think they're following the rules. What about in the movies? Right, do we look up to some of these actors and actresses? Sure we do. They make it look cool to use these products. Like I said, these products on the market are completely unregulated. We do not know everything that's in them. So it's just the next generation cigarette for the next generation of addicts, right? If they're killing off everybody who's smoking cigarettes, they need a way to make money, and that's you guys. And it's working. 900% increase in 4 years. Best way to make a change is with policy and prevention. Okay, we know that we have to have strong, comprehensive tobacco smoke-free policies. Okay, Columbia has a really good one. Can you guys still smoke in some of the establishments here in Centralia? Yeah, you can. Tobacco 21 is another one. And then focusing on getting rid of flavors. Sometimes I hear a lot of people say, who cares? You know, if I'm 18 and can buy an e-cigarette, if I'm 21, why not make it 80 as the legal age to buy these products? Well, here's why we're focusing so heavily on Tobacco 21, you guys. Do I have seniors in this room? Oh, they moved up. Well, where are my new seniors? Yeah, there you are, right? So you guys, we know that 80% of you seniors will be 18 before you graduate high school. Okay, 18 is the legal age in Centralia to buy your vapor products. How are our middle schoolers getting a hold of these products? They look up to you guys, right? There's various ways they get a hold of them, but the bottom line is they look up to you upperclassmen, okay? So when a little freshman comes up to you, acting all cool, wants you to go buy him a vape product, you gonna do it? What if they offer you $100 cold cash? That vape product might cost 20. Okay? So you guys, Tobacco 21 simply makes it 21 as the legal age to purchase these products. And by doing that, that removes everyone who can legally purchase these products, like the 18-year-old seniors, right? It removes them from the social circles that you guys run in. Hopefully you're not hanging out with a 21-year-old who's still in high school, right? So I don't know if you guys are aware, but this past week at the school board meeting and also at the city council meeting, we did a presentation on Tobacco 21 for Centralia to the city council. I work closely with Jenny Chadwick, who is mainly responsible for Tobacco 21 and getting this going in Missouri. And she came and did a really good presentation. We had a lot of questions answered. She drafted a policy. So this might be something that we can get pushed in Centralia. Why is that important? Because Columbia has it, but we know seniors in Columbia can drive north or south 10, 15 minutes and still buy their products at age 18. The more small communities we get to turn to Tobacco 21 means that hopefully we can turn the whole county and then the state. The only state in the Midwest right now who has Tobacco 21 statewide policy is Illinois. We already talked about flavors and how bad they are for you guys. There are currently absolutely 0 flavoring policies in our state. We currently have the lowest cigarette tax in the nation, 17 cents a pack. That's ridiculous. And e-cigarettes aren't taxed the same as our regular tobacco products, like cigarettes. So that's something else that we need to change. This slide to me is super concerning. So I talked a little bit about the master settlement agreement. That's basically Big Tobacco paying our state, as one of 46, millions of dollars every single year to focus on this, educating you guys with facts about how bad these are, right? The CDC says as a state we need to spend $73 million in prevention. In 2018, Missouri spent $48,500. After receiving more than $138 million last year from this big tobacco settlement. Where's that money going? We'd like to know, right? So what can you guys do? As high schoolers, I'm telling you that the younger kids in the community absolutely look up to you guys, okay? Please be a good influence by being nicotine and tobacco free, right? I'm telling you that education that you guys got today about how risky these products are and the amount of damage that they do to you, not everybody knows that information. It's very new information. Okay, I'm one person as far as going out and doing prevention education. Okay, I cover the entire Boone County area. I can't make it out to every school. But I know that you guys learned something today and you can take that back and let the adults in your life know just how harmful these products are, right? Set a good influence for the little ones too. Educate your peers and make your voice heard. You guys have got to get involved. Okay, I imagine we'll be voting on Tobacco 21 at a city council meeting shortly. How awesome would it be for you guys to all show up, right? 30 minutes of your evening, right? That's a pretty powerful message. We know these are in your schools. We know you guys have to lock the bathrooms between classes because you guys go and use these in school and vape. But would you guys have picked these up and started using these if you would have known what you know right now about how dangerous these are? I hope not. It's really, really important when you're looking into these different devices to do your research and use credible resources. You guys, when I do a Google search and I look up vaping, the first 2 or 3 pages of my Google search, all the information's put out by vaping companies. Is that reliable when you're talking about big tobacco? No, absolutely not. Now, a lot of people will ask me, but these are better than smoking cigarettes, right? Are they? I mean, at least when you smoke a regular cigarette, your body tries to repair itself. The chemicals in these do permanent damage. What questions do you guys have for me? Don't be shy. Anybody? Some people will ask me if these are approved to help you quit smoking. Who's heard that? That Juul will help you quit smoking. Yeah, they've done a pretty good job in their marketing campaign to tell you that that's true. You guys know that there is no electronic cigarette device, including Juul, on the market that's been approved to help you quit smoking? By them campaigning and telling you that, what we're seeing now is people who try to transition to an e-cigarette to quit smoking, and instead now they're using 2 products. Now they're smoking cigarettes and using an e-cigarette. So I'm here to tell you, you guys can make a difference in your community and with the youth in our community and save yourself a lifetime of permanent damage and struggle, not only from addiction, but for your health and the health of the people around you, okay, by putting these devices down and not using them, right? I see you guys in the hallway, right? You guys have a death grip on that cell phone, right? All the time. All the time. But you know what? When I go out and do these presentations in high schools, I see you guys who have a death grip on that Juul. It's become like your cell phone, right? Can't leave home without it. Left it in your car? Oh crap. I'll be late to class so I can go into my car and get my Juul. If you guys don't have any questions, I want to say thank you for enduring the warm weather today with me and being such good listeners. If you guys have questions about these devices, I encourage you to call me at the health department. Okay, I'm always available. I do have some resources up here that are vapes, myth versus facts that you guys can feel free to pick up, give to your friend, give to the adult in your life who's trying to quit and using one of these. Do you have anything else?
First of all, thank you for coming today and bringing your information. Let's give her another round of applause. There is going to be probably sometime tomorrow, I'll get it out. There is a survey. I will get it out through your past teachers most likely. So hopefully maybe tomorrow we'll kind of see what the schedule is. But we will be getting you out a survey that will come to your CatNet address. And we'd like for as many of you as you can to take that survey so that she can get some feedback just on your responses and your reactions to the information. So, but I'd like to really reemphasize the idea of not thinking about this situation from a standpoint of, oh, I'm doing something against the rules, so I possibly could get in trouble, or I'm possibly getting away with something, and think about it more of yourself as a victim of this media campaign and this blitz, and somebody seeing you as an easy mark, because that's really, to me, that's really what it comes down to. So I thank you for your attention, and I guess we're ready to head to 5th period. Thanks.